Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Junkies Podcast. Today's guest is Dabbswellington. While attending FabTech, I got to hang out with Dabbs in between our various events and other commitments. Dabbs was just as busy as I was, so to be able to sit down and chat with him for a few moments and just catch up and relax was awesome. Dabbs just has so much energy and it's contagious. Just this past weekend, I got to hang out with him and the crew from Viper Chair up in Green Bay, Wisconsin for the first annual Viper Fest. And Viper Fest was just an awesome event, and Dabbs and I had the opportunity to do some hands-on welding classes while we were there, and we got to share our passion of welding and weld artwork with the local community of Green Bay. We just started off with some basic TIG demos, introduction, covered some safety, and then we let everybody just start ripping out welds and kind of sat there with them one-on-one and kind of guided them back and forth, what they were doing right, what they were doing wrong. Some of them actually got to the point where they were doing some of the tiki head pieces from Weld Metals Online, but it was just awesome, to be able to see people that are interested in welding, get some hands-on experience just to see if welding is right for them. And it seemed like the entire class, everybody had a good time. So it was a good event. And then during the classes, the guys from Viper Fest, they had a burn pit going on outside, as well as a car show. They also had some detailing classes. It was a pretty cool event. Right after we finished up the TIG welding demo classes, we got to go watch the band Smoke Road, who put on an impressive 4-hour set, which is nuts for somebody to be able to sing for that long. And then right after them, our last night took the stage to close things out. I believe Viper is planning on making this an annual event, and I hope they do it because it was a blast. And I look forward to heading up there next year to do some more welding classes and just hang out with the folks at Viper. They're just super cool people, really down to earth. I want to give a huge shout out to Levi and Drake, who are the welders at Viper Chair. Awesome people. They helped get everything set up. The classes ran so smooth. It was just an amazing event overall. So, anybody that attended, I hope you all had a blast. And if you didn't get the chance to attend, hopefully you'll be able to put that in the books for next year. This weekend, I am off to Quakertown, PA for the Fabricator Olympics, hosted by my buddy Kevin Johnson from the Welding Business Owners Podcast. And then right after that, I believe Sunday morning, I'm headed up to Columbus, Ohio for the AWS Automation Conference, which should be a lot of fun. They're going to have a bunch of crazy robots and all kinds of stuff. Automation's something, I don't want to say new, but it's becoming more prevalent in our industry, and I kind of want to stay ahead of the power curve on that. So I'm going to be up there covering that. I think I'm going to do some stuff with AWS stories, so make sure you're following the AWS Instagram page so you can see what fun that is, just in case you're not able to go to that. Right after that, I'm heading up to Canada, New Brunswick, Canada, for CanWeld on the 16th to hang out with my buddy Max Saron from the CWB Association and the CWB Association podcast. And I've never been to Canada, so that should be a lot of fun. I'm actually looking forward to checking out Canada. So if you're at any of these events and you see me, please stop by and say hi. I'd love to meet some of y'all. All right, enough with the current events. I've got some quick words from my supporters who help me keep this ship afloat, and then we'll get right into the episode.
Hey guys, Kevin with the Welding Business Owners Podcast. I want to talk to you guys about the Fabricator Olympics, sponsored by Lincoln Electric, coming up on October 7th. We've got 30 spots for competitors to compete in basic fabrication challenges based on time and accuracy. The 5 top point earners from those challenges get to go head-to-head to compete against each other to win a brand new Lincoln 180i multi-process machine and $1,000 cash. Lincoln Electric is providing all the welders and tools and PPE so the playing field is completely level and competitors get to keep their PPE at the end. So come hang out with me and Jason Becker here in Quakertown, Pennsylvania for the first annual Fabricators Olympics on October 7th. Head on over to fabricatorolympics.com to get more information, to get your tickets to compete, to get your tickets for your friends to come watch you win. And if you have any questions, shoot us an email on there or find me on Instagram at Welding Business Owners Podcast. And we'll see you October 7th.
Today's episode of the Junkies Podcast is brought to you by Rockmount Research and Alloys. In a world where strength meets innovation, Rockmount Research and Alloys stand tall, delivering unparalleled solutions in maintenance welding for all of your most difficult tasks, including on-site repairs, hard facing, specialty alloys, dissimilar metals, and everything in between. If there's a problem, Rockmount has a solution. For over 50 years, Rockmount has been the trusted partner for the maintenance welding industry nationwide, offering premium electrodes and metalworking consumables that work hard so you don't have to. Rockmount's diverse product range caters to every need, ensuring durability and reliability in every weld to help you weld stronger so your repairs can last longer. From maintenance welding and repair to hardcore fabrication projects, Rockmount is a name you can rely on, delivering excellence one weld at a time. And right now, you can get a free 1-pound tube of Tartan AAA when you spend $250 or more at rockmountwelding.com when you use code word AJP in the discount box at checkout. Get the job done right the first time, every time with Rockmount. We're also brought to you by Fronius USA. Fronius is thrilled to announce 2 new welding products to unleash your welding potential. First up is the new Fronius dual wire feeder, the new WF25i. It gives welders the freedoms to have 2 torches ready to go, each with different wire types, sizes, and different welding parameters that are easily switchable at the touch of a button. No need to change wire spools or consumables between applications. Get precision wire feeding and save time without adding complexity to your day. Next is the new mobile fume extraction system, Exento. The Exento comes in both a high-vac and a low-vac version to fit your specific welding needs. The low-vac system includes a flexible extraction arm with a 360-degree rotation and a flow-optimized hood for an exceptional fume capture rate. The high-vac system combines perfectly with the Exento torch kits to remove more than 99.9% of captured fume particles at the arc to provide excellent extraction in a compact unit. Check out FroniusUSA.com for more details. We're also brought to you by Outlaw Leather. At Outlaw Leather, they craft more than just welding accessories. They forge companions for your journey. Each piece is handcrafted and designed for the brave and the bold. Discover Outlaw's custom leather welding hoods created with passion and precision to offer unrivaled protection and a personal touch that tells your story. Experience comfort like never before with Outlaw Leather's arm pads, an embodiment of their commitment to emerging functionality with artistry, providing you with durable gear that stands as tough as you are. And for the ironworkers who build the world, they offer bolt bags, rod pouches, and scabbards to hold your sleever bars and spuds and bolt pins, designed with meticulous attention to detail, ensuring every tool has its place so you can get to them when you need them. And as a listener of the Arc Junkies podcast, you can save 15% off on all their in-stock leather goods when you use Arc Junkies in the discount box at checkout. Outlaw Leather, where craftsmanship meets durability. Gear up with the best, gear up with Outlaw Leather. All right, y'all know what time it is. Fire up your machine, drop your hood, and turn me up 5.
Thank you for downloading show number 296 of the Arc Junkies Podcast.
You're listening to the Arc Junkies Podcast, helping you make every weld better than your last with each episode. And now your host, Jason Becker.
Dabs, what's up, man? How's FabTech treating you?
It's been very well. I mean, other than being surrounded by all my favorite people, today's been a very busy day. Yesterday was pretty busy. I'm looking forward to my Wednesday. I get to hang out and actually drink in the sites. There's a couple of booths I've been dying to check out, some new procedures. There's definitely some forming stuff, some different finishing stuff. So I'm knocking out all of my responsibilities, and then tomorrow I get to play.
Like an adult.
Like an adult. I'm making sure that everyone is happy, and then tomorrow I get to focus on myself.
It's weird how the things they teach you in kindergarten actually, end up being necessities once you become an adult. It's
unfortunate, but everything I'm doing today correctly is things that I was told years and years ago. It just took me, 30 years to start listening. Once I had a child, I started repeating the things that my parents told me. It was like, oh, if I start paying attention to this stuff, maybe it'll work. And so I matured as soon as my child started maturing.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a 14-year-old man baby in front of you?
There you go. About the same. That's I try to tell my kids, when I sit down and have conversations, I try to treat them like an adult and have conversations like, here's why you can't do that, or here's why you shouldn't do that. So hopefully it sinks in versus when I grew up, it was like, don't do that. Why? Pow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to do that.
Take it one step past the wooden spoon is what you're telling me?
Exactly. Let's sit down and have a conversation. It seems to be working out good. I mean, they're pretty well-behaved kids.
Yep.
So, Yeah, but how's the traveling schedule been? I know you're all over the place. You drove into Chicago, right?
I drove in anytime it's been in Chicago, so I'm from 45 minutes west of St. Louis. And yes, for American Welding Academy, I'm driving all the time anyway. But I drove this one out. I didn't have anything booked on the way up or the way back, but typically I would book, I drove through Springfield. So there's CACC in Springfield. I drove through Kankakee. I drove through Livingston. All of those areas have area career centers. So typically, I'd book events on the way home to where I would be doing welding demonstrations for American Welding Academy while I was doing that. But this week, as you were saying earlier, you're in charge of your own schedule. You book it so heavily. I've been on the road for a couple weeks, so I will be taking Thursday and Friday back at the office at home with the family again. But no, I've been traveling. Normally it's 3 nights a week, but this last stretch has been 5 nights a week.
Oh, dang.
Just because there's, each year I'm meeting more instructors. They want me back. So luckily I was able to train some help this last week. We've got another rep traveling the Indiana area, Kentucky area, stuff like that. So hopefully that'll keep me closer to home. But no, this year I've spent a lot more time outside of the hood. Mm-hmm. It's good. Luckily, the hood is what got me here, but my relationships I've built over the last 5 or 6 years, I get to rely on those a lot more and, talking about it. I've taken a more adult role with the welding. I've found that I can advocate for the trades and affect a lot more people outside of the hood as well as I can under the hood. So unfortunately, the pendulum has swung a little too far in the opposite direction. I do miss welding a lot. With fall coming up, I'm sure I'll have less excuses to keep myself out of a 100-degree shop. I am a bit faint of heart anymore. I don't like to weld when it's ridiculously uncomfortable anymore.
Right. Well, you've worked to your, that place in your career where you can.
Yep.
You can kind of pick and choose when you want to do things.
Yep. So, in the summer, I like to drive around and talk about welding. As the weather gets better, I'm sure I'll get into the hood more. But for the most part, it's running demos and traveling right now.
Okay. So, when you show up to these classes, what takes place? You just inform them about the academy and do some weld demos, or do you talk to them about the career path, or?
Obviously, the first 15 to 20 minutes is going to be solely about the academy, certifications offered, AWS, ASME, things like that. Go over how things operate at the school, but really I'm there to advocate for the trades. Obviously, I'm seeking out area welding programs, high school ag programs to where I'm bolstering the people I'm in front of. Obviously, they're interested in welding. I'm not just picking random places out of a hat. Yeah. I'm making sure, a lot of them are instructors or stuff that have followed me before, so I've kind of got a shoe in. But I'm going in there, for career centers. A lot of times I'll get into pipe, but I gauge it on the school that I'm going into. So if it's a first-year program that's never done much of anything, I'll do remedial pulse welding TIG, things like that. I want something that the students can also interact with. Mm-hmm. I don't want to just go there, here's how you weld pipe if they don't even know that X, Y, and Z will get you there. So I want to start as remedial as possible to where I can get them under the hood, and then, as long as I've got an hour or two, I can take up some basic sheet metal TIG and then get them all the way up to a pipe demonstration to where, someone that, these high school programs are mixed. You're going to have farm kids mixed in with city kids, so there's going to be a huge gap in the skills. So I'd like to make sure that everybody goes home with something they've never seen. Because at the high school level, I was never exposed to welding outside of things you could do on the farm. Mm-hmm. And I feel that a lot of students that are interested in this, not just in the welding-only background, but, with your new partner, meeting at the school like you guys did, Megatronics, there's tons of things that'll keep you in the industry here that a lot of kids, I feel like, are turned a blind eye because you're never going to be a stick welder. Because that's what the instructor at the school, how he got his start there. I feel like a lot of people find their way into this industry like I did later in life by happenstance, that if they had a sense of direction earlier on, you could focus that intent early and get them, to where they're not wandering their way into it. And it takes 5 or 10 years to finally get something to materialize like it did for myself and so many others.
Yeah. And that's why I like doing the podcast. That's why I like doing the YouTube videos and stuff like that. You get to kind of expose everybody to different areas of the industry because, I mean, like what's very popular out in the Midwest may not be very popular in the South. You know, what's popular in the South, not popular in the North. And that's kind of why I made it a point to train my students in as many different processes and positions and materials as possible because they're not going to work within 10 minutes of their house. You know, a lot of people want to go where the money is. Well, if there's no money within 10 minutes of your house that you can make a career out of, you're going to have to travel around, or you might have to move, or with the company that you're at, you might have to relocate. But you have this skill set that nobody can ever take away from you, but you can jump from one area to the next, you know, when it comes to welding. I mean, we're at the end of the day, I mean, just think about it. We're just fusing metal together.
Every one of us is, whether we go in circles, whether we go overhead.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
It's the same. It's the same. So, like, if you can give them all of that information, like what you're doing, you're going around, you're kind of running them through the gamut, you know, doing a little bit of everything. So, like you said, everybody that goes home sees something new, regardless of what skill level that they were at. You know, exposing them to different things, showing them different pathways in this trade.
Yep, you can't teach them. You know, I feel so bad for high school level instructors and stuff because, I mean,
for sure.
They've got a lot of information in very little time. You know, so those beginning stages, it's really just about exposure. You know, letting them dip their hand into every process and every different procedure to see if something does stick. And you know, they may not get good at it, but it's just, you know, that there's something there to explore a little more. And you know, once they get to that point, you know, if you show a high schooler something they've never seen and they're interested in it, I don't think there's really such a thing as ADHD. I just don't think people know how to reach students in the way they need to be reached. You know, I bounce around a room like crazy until there's something in that room that I want to fixate on. You know, and luckily a welding hood, a little extra darkness helped out, but I think every student out there can be reached somehow. And I think the trades are a great way for many students that are looked over to find not just, you know, money is a great thing, don't get me wrong. And the reason I did stainless is because the area I lived in, that's what was available. You know, Anheuser-Busch, different LMI, different, you know, airplane manufacturers. But I mean, getting a broad scope will help you leave that immediate area. And I never knew that till I started working at a school and got to figure out that I could have welded pipe anywhere. Yeah. I worked in Franklin County because that's as far as stainless would take me with the certification and different things I had, you know, and a broader training, whether it be full-time, whether it be a part-time situation. I think it's good for anyone and everyone to get exposure, and the sooner you can do that, the better. Yeah.
How's your pipe welding game these days? Because I know I've seen some of your videos on Instagram. I mean, you're kind of being, I mean, not self-taught, but I mean, you're I'm working at a place where you can get instruction and have the opportunity to practice, because I know that wasn't your forte up front.
Not at all. So I'm very fortunate to have, once again, I'm an older student now. So I understand that if I want to learn something, you know, the only reason I know what I do is because I worked next to guys that knew more than me and I listened. At this point in my life, now I'm surrounded by guys that spent 10 years in a chemical processing plant. You know, another guy that has honed his instructional skills for 20 years in the classroom. So it's like when I need to learn something, I know how to read a puddle. So as long as I sit down, shut up, and listen, I can figure it out pretty quickly. So I didn't weld pipe all summer long. I rode a lot of bicycles, messed around with the family. That's why I'm traveling so much now. I made up for lost time. But honestly, after a couple of brush-ups, you know, it was rusty at first for sure, but by the time I went around a single piece of pipe in the easiest position possible, I knocked out a 2G pretty quick, and was demoing that following week. But it took a couple weeks of, you know, hard practice at first. But it's like anything else. If you can read a puddle and you know what you're doing, it's a transition that can be made, but it's definitely easier. The students have a far easier time mastering it when you're in the midst of it. You know, if your only job for 6 months is to get better at welding, in the middle of that program, everything's firing. You've been learning how to weld, you know, to just pop in and out of something. It's way more difficult, and I think you're more resilient when you're younger. You can pick up and retain things easier and go back to it quicker. Everything slows down the older you get.
Oh, that's
the only thing. The older I get, the more I want things. So there's a risk and reward for all of that. I just, I really appreciate the opportunity to advocate the trades to a younger generation outside of Instagram, because it seems like a lot of the people here for it are, our age, maybe a little younger. It's great to see that it's far and few between. There are programs where you go where it's just nothing but 15 and 16-year-old kids snickering at you, but you're going to have that. There are a lot of kids out there that still are interested in this, and a lot of them that don't know it.
Yeah. We just got to figure out a way to get it to the younger generation. I mean, high school's good and all, but I think like middle school area,
great.
Yeah, middle school area, that area, like start showing them, what's possible through the world of welding, and it doesn't have to be the stereotype that everybody's so familiar with that.
I started with Legos, man.
Exactly. I mean, so did I. Legos and what was the other Steel Tech? The
first set. Isometric blueprints I ever looked at.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where my original fabrication thing came from, was building something off of, like Legos. I mean, you really don't realize it, but you're reading a blueprint. Yeah. And you're basically assembly structure.
They've even got little side views now that show you what parts you're picking, to where just like you're welding. It's like, oh, I need a 2x2 flat,
And that's exactly what it is. I mean, you don't even realize you're putting, you don't realize you're building off of a blueprint, but that's exactly what you're doing.
100%. If we could just slowly incorporate these work issues into play to where they never know that they're actually learning, we might have just unlocked something.
Yeah. I was having a conversation earlier with some of my buddies right outside the AWS booth when we were there for the Arc Stars meetup, and talking about the swapping out a video game controller for a teach pendant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a very easy transition. I was telling them, dude, you guys need to they need to put a scoring system on there. You put you get to a point where you can put a high score on there. Somebody's going to want to come up there and beat that. And it's a challenge. It's very competitive. So, I mean, that's one way we could start getting more people into this industry, because let's face it, I mean, manual welding is not going away anytime soon, but the automation sector is going to become more prevalent. I just found out today that robotic welding is number 3. Out of all the uses for robotics, welding is in the top 3.
Oh, I would imagine. And, there's a huge subset of students that would be perfect for that. And a student that has a gift for programming or the computer side of it also would benefit greatly from, what's the worst thing? An overeducated engineer that's never stepped a day on the shop floor. So
it's very dangerous.
Having a little crossover between those two skill sets would make it beneficial for everybody. And that, that's kind of like, I feel like I've snuck my way into the offices at these places in a Trojan horse, because I did spend so much time out in the shop to where I understand what's going on out there, but I also now I'm getting a pretty deep understanding of the front of the house as well, so it's cool.
Yeah. What's been your favorite part of this journey? Because, I mean, you went straight from, and I told you, I think the first podcast you were on, you're still doing conveyor systems. Dude, you'd be an excellent teacher, and now you're migrating into. What's been the favorite part of your journey?
Well, I mean, under the hood, it's definitely the artwork. That's very easy to say. But I mean, for the school, I get to do basic instruction over the summer. But honestly, my favorite thing is going out and doing my welding presentations for people. Basically, exactly what I get to do here at FabTech. That's why my presentation is as polished as it is here, because I've done it 100 times this year.
Yeah, you're doing it almost every day year round.
Exactly. So once a torch goes in my hand, it's almost automatic anymore. But I really enjoy, I spent 20 years behind a fab table, 2 miles down the road from my house in Washington. So as hard as it is to travel, be away from the family, with Ava being 14, Heather and I've been together for forever. This is something I've always talked about wanting to do. Now I've got the opportunity to. So luckily I've got a family at home that understands why I'm traveling the way I am. And I've got the opportunity to reach the people like I've wanted to. So this is my favorite.
So do you do any other events outside of FabTech and then the travel? I mean, are you doing
for sure.
State fairs, section meetings for AWS or anything like that?
I've done a couple AWS. We had Travis Jumper out at the school for an artwork event.
Good dude.
You guys share the same look.
Yeah.
Couple giant red bearded gentlemen. Yeah, for sure. But, I don't shy away from any event whatsoever. So through the week, it's all school stuff, but I'm still doing personal stuff on the weekends. Once again, there's a lot of crossover between my personal and professional promotion. So that's another
you take
great
your
thing.
work home with you.
Yeah. Well,
Literally.
Absolutely. So it's great that no matter whether I'm doing something personal or for the school, it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah. So what do you think's been the most difficult part of that whole journey?
At first, it was balancing a schedule, really understanding the inner workings of the like public school system and things like that. But I'm getting that figured out as well. Being in the front of the house versus being under the hood, it's how do you get yourself in front of the correct audience or the right people to be able to deliver that correct audience. So getting into a high school, especially, I started this traveling job at the height of COVID. When it was almost impossible to go talk to other people's kids.
Face to face.
Yeah, it was next to impossible. So I was able to get in and under that circumstance. So now it's pretty easy. So my only problem now is having enough, like we were talking about before you hit record, is enough hours in the day.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I've been trying to figure out how to, stretch a 25th, 26th hour out of the day.
People ask me why I walk so fast. It's because that's the only way. If I can get to point A to point B quicker, that's giving me more time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, just figuring out how to expedite the stuff that goes on in between.
Exactly.
This show's like teaching me that, going from one area. And I, luckily enough, when I scheduled this out, I was like, I'm going to schedule myself an hour in between events because, just going from point A to point B at FabTech, you run into so many people that, folks you haven't met, folks you've talked to on Instagram or other social media platforms, or people that you've met before, or like a new product or something like that. So it's difficult to get from, like, I just came from the Fronius booth to come down here and get everything set up, and it took me a lot longer.
Shook 30 hands on the way, didn't you?
And they're not that far apart, it's maybe a 2-3 minute walk, but it'd take you 30 minutes.
Uh-huh. Well, no, that's a good thing. That means you're leaving a mark. But that's why we come here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that because people, why does everybody want to go to FabTech? It's like, well, if you're serious about this, you want to network and expand, this is the place to be.
Yeah.
And that was exactly the decision that took me from just being a guy on Instagram to actually having working relationships with these companies and ultimately being able to promote different products. Because if you guys out there are looking to get yourself into the industry and then you want people to take you seriously, you can lie online pretty easily, might I add. But when you sit across the table and shake somebody's hand, you've got to show that you are exactly what you've portrayed online all this time, and this is the place to do it. So,
So do you think, not plugging FabTech? We do enough of that. But, but do you think coming to these events when you were, like younger, going way back to your first FabTech, do you think these events have helped you kind of forge your path down, or forge your career down this path?
There were two things I did right in the beginning. One was somehow get on Bob Moffat's radar. The other was start coming to FabTechs. And I'm sure Bob mentioned something about that as well. Networking, and it's the same now. I'm using the exact same hacks that I did for my Instagram page, for the school, networking. Anyone and everyone you meet has got a need or desire. It's meeting the people that have the same needs or desires that queue up with what I have to offer. And a place like this has that to offer. And, knowing who to contact at a school to get the right people, it's the same way. So, the networking and things you can polish here, like welding, the lessons you learn there, you can take with you anywhere. All these lessons are going to be held true just about anywhere in the industry.
Skills.
So if you're polishing any skill set, find out where they work in other places, All
right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. This segment of the Arc Junkies podcast is brought to you by Everlast Welders. After several years of research, customer input, and technological design work, Everlast has developed and released the new top-tier Typhoon class of TIG and stick welders. Designed to compete head-to-head in the next generation of elite AC and DC TIG and stick welding machines, the Typhoon 230 offers the best combinations of features and specifications for true next-level performance. It runs off 110 and 230 volt. It features AC and DC TIG welding capabilities. It has 5 AC waveforms to choose from, including the all-new industry-first trapezoid. Check out all the great features at everlastwelders.com and be sure to use Arc Junkies in the comment section at checkout to get that free Nova foot pedal and TIG torch when you buy any machine that comes with a stock foot pedal. Everlast Welders. Weld mean, weld green. We're also brought to you by Strong Hand Tools. Educators, are you looking for quality fabrication tools at an affordable price? Don't answer that question. I already know what you're going to say. Head on over to stronghandtools.com/ArcJunkies and check out the Educators Discount Program. Stronghand's going to send you some free tools just for signing up. Students need to learn the fundamentals of fabrication if they're going to be able to compete in the job market after graduation. You got to get the fabrication tools in their hands while they're in school, because the first day on the job shouldn't be the first time they get to use fixturing tools. Check out stronghandtools.com/ArcJunkies and get your program on the fast track to fabrication. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah, I mean, networking is definitely the biggest aspect.
Yeah.
That's taken me I think every advancement in my career has been through networking. Like they always say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, I've met so many different people that launched me on that career path. You know, like that's how I met the owner of Weld.com and got kind of pulled into that, was at a networking event through AWS. You know,
Yep.
I went to this educational meeting and networking, and he heard the presentation that I put together, and at the end, he was like, "Hey, you know, we'd like you to come work for us." Same thing with the podcast. You know, I got to meet Jimmy over in Texas. It's networking, you know, all this stuff. It just takes you so many different places, but you'll never know that if you don't leave the shop. You know, if you just clock in, you do your 40, 50 hours a week, you go home and, you know, you do the same thing day in and day out. You don't take the opportunity to go to, and it doesn't have to be FabTech, but if you go to a conference, a seminar, a section meeting, or anything, like if you want to advance yourself in this career, you got to kind of look at the bigger picture.
Got to zoom out a little bit.
You've got to broaden your horizons and start going out and shaking hands.
Yeah, and remember that once you do start shaking hands, you don't often get exactly what you want right when you want it.
No.
There still are going to be doors slammed in your face. There are still going to be people that say no, but the problem is you're just not asking enough people. See, I've got this. There were some very friendly Mennonite individuals earlier saying they were going to laugh at me during my demonstration, and I told them, go right ahead.
That was nice of them.
Go right ahead. They were completely joking. I was not. I don't care if you're laughing, if you're smiling at me, if your eyes are on me. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this all for myself. The fact that other people are here to join me, great. And that's the attitude I hope others adopt.
Yeah.
You know, get out here and find something you're passionate about, and I hope you wind up making some money in the process, but that'll come with time.
Oh yeah, always. So what type of demos have you been doing this week?
It was the dynamic wire again.
Okay.
So hot fed TIG system that reads the voltage through a constant feedback loop from the machine. It's pretty slick.
Mm-hmm.
I have not used it in a year, and I was able to
pick it right up
and, you know, talk on mic while doing it and stuff. So, I mean, I even pulled people out of the crowd to run it. So, I mean, one male, one female out of each group. Two of them had never TIG welded, so, and they didn't screw it up any worse than I did.
That's a plus.
Yep.
You don't want to fall on your face in front of a live studio audience.
Hey, once again,
It happens.
I've done it before. It will happen again. It's more so about how you react, you know, to mistakes when they happen. And it's the same thing when you're welding. If you overcorrect a problem while it's happening, things are going to go bad.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put yourself in that situation before and you know how to react, you can brush off a mistake without most people even noticing.
Yeah.
You know?
So tomorrow, I guess, they're taking that wire fed process and they're taking it off the torch. So now you're going to be able to handhold.
I have put it in my left. I've never done that for a live demo, but when I was at Portage with Fronius last year with the guys, I did try it like that. So as long as that wire is in the puddle, it's going to read the arc or the loop, however the engineers
black
explain
magic
it.
Behind
yeah,
it.
the black magic that makes this thing work. Yeah, so I mean, it does not have to be attached to the same side. You could have it, you know, coming in with your hand or any different amount of positions depending on what you had at welding, but it is pretty neat to see.
Yeah. I want to check it out. I think it's tomorrow at 3. I think I've got some other stuff going on, but
Yep,
I'm sure
so
they'll
that'll
be
be
doing more demos.
That'll be after Frank's demo. I've got to get over there and check it out because Frank's doing a demo with it and giving away some of Joel's new truck kits and stuff. So,
cool. The little click exhaust pieces?
No, not those. He's got a new one that him and Made by Miller were working on that it looks like an actual C10 truck.
Oh, okay.
Got a little chassis, wheels, and they look freaking rad.
Oh,
so
nice.
I hope my dad's not listening to this podcast because he just finished building his C10 and I want to get him one for Christmas, you know.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert. Don't listen to the show, Dad. We should have done that before.
This is a test.
Yeah.
I'm checking up to see if the old man's, following up on his
you
boy
as
here.
close as he says he is. So have you seen anything new and cool on the show floor that kind of...
I do not remember the name of the company that made it, but I watched a video. I took some video, so I will properly tag them after the fact here, and spoke with one of the salesmen. But it's forming material of a huge sheet, upright in a piece, pushing it from each side.
Okay.
To where when it's done, it actually almost looks like it's been billet machined. But it's, I don't know, have you ever seen videos of where they take a flat piece and spin it?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically doing the same thing, but in all three dimensions at the same time.
What?
Yeah, it's wild.
Where's this at?
It is right down from the Fronius booth.
Okay.
I'll have to get you the information because I saw a video of it while they were setting it up, and that was the one thing that I wanted to come out here and see. But if you've never made a trip over to the metal forming building, some of the different robotics, brake presses, lasers that are, kind of all lined up in symmetry. That's pretty neat to see. But I mean, that's stuff that geeks me out because the fab shops I came from, we had a lot of those things. A number of the different Trump lasers and stuff we had that I've ran. So I like seeing where that technology is going. And that's what's so cool with, Joel's got one of those BLMs. So a lot of I like to window shop at the machinery I know I'll never be able to afford.
Right. I never make it over to Hall A. I think I made it over there 2021. I had the opportunity to kind of walk across into Hall A because that was the show wasn't that big that year because it was
I walked across
just after COVID.
I walked across the way for the first time ever. I didn't realize you could get all the way to the Lakeview. I was like, this is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, the little glass overpass and all that stuff. I had no idea that was there.
I've been here 4 times.
Yeah. I was actually trying to find the recording room that we had set up with Max with the CWB, and Daniela's assistant sent me the instructions, and she's like, stay to the left and go down the hallway. So I was like, okay. I completely missed the turn. It was before that. So my buddy and I, we end up all the way on the other side. I was like, dude, I didn't even know this building over here existed. And there's more stuff downstairs over there.
Yeah, they had food trucks. I didn't even know they had food trucks at this event. So
yeah, I've been hitting up this little Italian thing on the second. Well, yeah, I guess this is the second floor over there. They got some pretty good stuff in there.
I'm on I think ham croissant for the second day in a row. But
there you go.
Yeah, we'll get some real food tomorrow.
Yeah, I think this is my third FabTech in Chicago. And so I still haven't seen everything that's here.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, and you're here for 4 days. It's the longest show. I think when it goes to when it's in Vegas and when it's in Atlanta, it's only a 3-day show.
I hope we don't have to go back to Atlanta.
I think you're coming to Orlando next year. Right?
I do. I know that it's Orlando next year. So hopefully everything goes so well in Orlando that we just skip right over Atlanta altogether.
Yeah, my district director is actually trying to put together like a badass welding competition for when FabTech comes to. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Do we need to back it up?
No, I think we're good. I'll find out when this episode airs.
There we go.
So they're wanting to plan like this massive welding competition, but also invite employers so that employers can see they can bring in like their own weld tests, have people weld them up, and just hire them right there on the spot.
Well, no, that's a great idea, and boy, with it being in Florida and you having a new school down there, what a perfect time for that all to converge all in one place at one time.
That'd be as soon as it was like right after we were acquiring Underground Metalworks, they announced that it was going to be in Orlando, and I was like, oh man, we got a big opportunity to do something awesome.
For sure.
Just got to figure out what it's going to be.
For sure.
So I'm going to need some help with that. And then you guys got to come out and check out the new school since everybody's going to be there.
Oh, no.
If you want to come in, bring the wife and Ava with you. And
yeah, we'll see. Coming to Orlando, that will, that might be a family vacation.
Stay an extra week. Hit up the Mouse House. Hit up Universal.
There we go.
Come check out Underground Metalworks.
No, 100%.
Do some weld demos.
Anytime. I would love to come down.
Okay. Yeah, I'll link you up with some of the instructors in the area. Then I know you can probably do some recruiting while you're
here. We can
do
some business and pleasure.
There you go, man.
Now you know how to get me somewhere.
Oh, exactly.
Now we were checking all the boxes
I got to lure you in with some fun and slides of business there on the side.
There we go. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good time. And it's going to be an awesome opportunity just because it's going to be new.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think everybody's kind of wore out from Vegas, Chicago, Chicago, Vegas.
Variety is the spice
Atlanta.
of life, my friend.
Yeah. And it's going to be in a good spot, too. I mean, the convention center down there is freaking massive, and it's in a good part of town. There's so much to do. There's awesome food.
Last time
awesome
I was
things
in
to do.
Orlando was to go down there for the House of the Mouse, so it's I think it was 12 or 13 maybe, so it's been quite some time.
Okay. Well, yeah, you came out for that lovely Ink the Bay convention.
Well,
Tampa side.
That was Tampa side.
So. But so you get to come down and see sunny Florida. I guarantee you, this is an Arc Junkies podcast. Guarantee Orlando FabTech will be way better than Ink the Bay.
Yeah, well, the bar wasn't set too high for that one. So
I mean, this is my first year. This will be my first FabTech in Orlando.
But no, I've got big expectations. I absolutely love Florida. As far as a Missouri boy goes, we don't get a lot of beachfront, retail space up there. So anytime I can have my toes in some sand, I will take the opportunity.
And it's going to be October too, so it'll be pretty nice weather.
Oh no, we used to go down there and swim all November long when my grandma lived in Pensacola. So
we'll be weather's
good.
Beautiful.
We'll be good.
Yeah, so it's not too hot. Like right now, it's ridiculously hot. Well, we got hurricanes going through right now, but
yeah, by October that ought to settle down.
Yeah, I think all next week is supposed to be in the mid 80s, so that'll be nice.
Nice.
That'll be a good change.
No, I will look forward to it. That's the reason I felt like Chicago got a very poor shake from me the first couple times I came up here for FabTech because it was so
2
late.
foot of snow on
it
the
was
ground.
so late in November. It's like this is a beautiful city as long as you hit it at the right time. And man, the end of September, very beginning of October is my favorite time in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, that's why they changed it. They moved it from November to September. I think it was the flight that we were on coming in from Orlando landed, and then the plane that landed right after us slid off the runway. So yeah, it was. They're like, okay, you got to pack so much stuff. With
Don't
you
want to be murdering
is.
all these, industry titans.
Yeah, but I mean, as much stuff as you got to pack to go to FabTech. I mean, most people don't. Like, I got a lot of gear. Dude, if I had to bring winter clothes on top of everything else I had to bring, it's just a mess. So bumping it back to September, that's a good idea.
Well, and then you can actually get out and enjoy the sights of Chicago because this is a great town to get out and hit the sidewalks, and that's kind of impossible to do.
Oh, I hit the shit out of them sidewalks yesterday, man. We stood in line to get a taxi, and it was not happening. So
beautiful walk in the rain.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful walk, and to make it even better, it was raining. So I mean, that helped out a lot. It's about a mile and a half to the hotel.
Oh yeah,
raining, walking in freaking cowboy boots. Oh, it was great.
I did. I walked as well, but I had something happen yesterday that I don't think's ever happened. I got catcalled in traffic, and then I'll be damned if the guy didn't come up and say, "Hey, I was the guy that yelled at you at the AWS meet and greet this morning." So I walked through the rain, but I did have a pretty shit-eating grin on my face because hey, look at there, finally.
Yeah.
There's
some silver lining.
Just like happened. I didn't want to drop it if you didn't get it. But yeah, finally, I'm somebody's bitch.
I'm somebody's bitch.
Perfect. I'm just glad you got the late 90s obscure drop that I put in there for
definitely.
you.
Yeah, that's a classic, man. That's what is it, pop culture trivia or whatever?
There we go.
That's good stuff. So where are you off to after FabTech?
FabTech, I'm going to go home for a couple days, but then I go back to, let's see how good my memory is. It would be the K4C Construction Build My Future event in Kentucky.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
So that would be in Missouri, they're called Build My Future events, but that would be, so the new guy that, David, the guy that we hired, that will be an event that they load up construction, carpentry, all different trade kids for, and then bring them all to one location. So we'll have, we'll be doing welding, but they'll, a lot of places they've got linemen up there climbing poles. They've got guys, laying grout and bricklaying and stuff like that there. So we'll be going there just to meet high school instructors and students from the area to ultimately have more places to travel to.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Where's that at? I mean, you said Kentucky, but where
I don't remember if it's Knoxville or Frankfort for this one. But like in Missouri, they've got them all over the place, know. So they would be basically a number of career centers down Highway 70, and then the same thing went down Highway 44. So
okay, yeah, they do a big one of those up in Iowa.
Oh yeah,
there's a massive
so
one
there's
in Iowa.
one in it's 3 or 4 weeks now at the Black River Coliseum in Ohio. So no, they've got them all over the place. Like I said, if you just know the right trees to shake, I find that stuff by contacting FFA board members and different things like that. You know, or just get onto the Googs and start. It's amazing. Whatever you're looking for is there as long as you're ready to pilfer through enough information, and it's all there.
Yeah.
So
I got to link you up with Brandon Patterson, I believe his name is. He runs that stuff for Iowa.
Okay,
They do an
awesome.
Iowa
Yep.
skilled trades event every year, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing. You get carpentry, electrical.
Notice where Iowa is? It's right north of us, and there's beautiful country.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to make some trips through Iowa, so.
Home of Slipknot.
Yeah, oh, for sure. No, believe me, I looked heavily into their state fair multiple summers in a row because they throw a hell of a party up there for
what
that
I've
state
heard.
fair. Oh, man. Incredible lineup every year.
Oh, yeah. And then we're also doing Viper Fest in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the end of the month.
Yes. So
That should be a blast.
that is coming up. I don't have any of those dates memorized yet because it hasn't physically made it on the calendar.
30th.
There we go.
That'll be
There
the
we
actual
go.
It's just like a one-day event, but we're going to be out there doing TIG welding demos. Dab's going to be doing some artwork.
Yes, I will.
Everybody can come out there and try it hands-on.
Yeah. Say sorry, I did not have that one memorized, but it is.
I
I don't have to memorize my weekend stuff,
Right.
Because that doesn't interfere with anything else.
Okay, I got you. It should be a good show. I mean, the folks from Viper Chair and Viper Energy, they're putting on this massive deal, Viper Fest. They got, I guess, a burn pit for drift cars and all that stuff. There's
And
gonna be
live music and all kinds of stuff.
detailing, concerts at the end of the night. Smoke Road and Our Last Night are going to be performing, which I had the opportunity to check them out on Spotify, and they do like a lot of cover songs. They're pretty good, like heavy metal version.
Oh yeah.
So it should be a good time.
No, I'm looking forward to it because I've known the guys at Viper Chair for some while. I've got one at the house. Love that. And the Viper Energy thing. It's great that there's a product, a caffeinated product of people I know that I can promote because, I'm a heavily caffeinated person. So it's great that at least I know I'm throwing all my money their direction to instead of Red Bull or somewhere else. It's great.
Have you had the Viper Energy? You like it?
Daniel has made sure that I've had some. He's either been force feeding me those or I didn't know that Celsius made a powdered one.
Oh, geez.
That's
dangerous.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, Celsius for some reason it does not
Makes you
agree with
tingle
me.
a little bit?
No, I think that's the niacin. It like screws with my my stomach.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean they're freaking delicious.
Please don't tell me explosive diarrhea because I just had one about 2 hours ago.
No, just like ulcers and stuff. It doesn't agree well for some reason.
Yeah,
but the Viper Energy, it's pretty good shit. I got some there in the studio. I try to keep that on tap.
Yeah,
not on tap, but like readily available.
I was going to say, they'll do that for you?
No,
Fantastic.
no.
Can I get one in the road
Kegerator,
vehicle? Right, exactly.
Have a roadie on the way.
I never have to stop anymore. We just figured out how I can get more hours of the day.
Just put another gas tank on the back.
Viper on tap.
Put a tap right there, right next to the.
And see my pupils
radio.
coming before I get there.
You look like the guy in your shirt.
Exactly. Well, see, there's a lot of things about this logo that I wanted people to know who they were dealing with long before they saw it. So it's all for a reason.
Okay, that's pretty slick.
Yeah.
Who did the logo for you?
That'd be Weld Devils. So what is that? Joe. His last name isn't Glank, but Joe from Weld Devils.
Okay.
Shipbuilder.
That's an old school logo.
Yep. So the first guy that did my logo, I had one of my nephews. I told him I wanted it to look like an old Ed Roth guy, but instead of shifting the gears, he's holding the torch. And had a pencil drawing one at first, and then I sent Joe that, and he came up with all of this.
Oh, dope.
He did great work. I think he's still doing it. BT, Ben over there did my latest one. It's funny. I have a lot of kids. How do you get your own logo? And it's like, well, it's honestly pretty easy. You reach out to someone, and they can make you one from scratch, or they can take your ideas and do it. So if anybody out there, I just dropped two of the best names in the industry for getting your logo done. Check them out.
Yeah, Ben's done all my logos, and then when we started WeldWorks Training Center, I was like, dude, I asked my buddy, I was like, what do you want in a logo? He's like, oh, we got to do something patriotic because he's a retired Navy chief. I'm a Marine vet. And so I was like, we definitely got to have the American flag in there. And he's like, oh, I want a fouled anchor, because that's got a lot of significance to the Navy and the Marines as well. Yeah. And so that, like, I reached out to Ben and I was like, here's kind of what I'm looking for. And I was like, I just kind of want to give you the creative freedom to do that. And like, boom, within like 24, 48 hours. And actually, I think it was a little bit longer. He was working on something else. And he shot this thing back. I looked at it. I was like, dude, that's badass. And I showed my buddy, and he's like, that's exactly what I was looking for. And I was like, cool, man, print it, send me the invoice, and let's get her done.
You know how you can look at somebody's weld and tell who did it?
Oh, yeah.
Same thing, with
his
his logos.
Yeah.
Yep.
He did the Arc Junkies logo here.
Yeah, he did ours. He did ours for the welding competition at American Welding Academy. He did my latest. He just randomly took my profile picture and turned it into a sticker. Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah, one within the flame tech trim?
Yeah, the one that apparently just became what everyone associates me to anymore, so it's, pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. It's got the American flag in the background.
It's got it's a shout out to Mike and the guys at GarageBound and Flame Tech. It shouts that sticker, without Ben knowing it, shouts out to a lot of the people that helped get me here. So it's really neat for him just to make that without me asking, like as a surprise. And, I was able to sit down with him the other night and be like, hey, this means a lot to me. This is why. And he didn't know that. He just saw it as my profile picture, but it's pretty cool. So,
yeah, there's a lot of history in that logo.
Yep.
Cool.
Not as much as this old school one, but it's neat to,
It's okay to have multiple logos.
All of these little different things, there's a story behind them. So it's, it's cool that the guy that did that, I got to tell him the story of why I chose that and why now it'll probably be on T-shirts some point eventually.
Yeah. Oh, there you go, man. Start up the Dabbswellington merch line.
The only Dab merch you can get would be hood pads and caps at this point, and that's also, something else that I do on purpose. I'm not looking to fleece people. I wear other people's shirts, so I get that there is a market for it, and someday I will. But it's like I just want to get information out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, someday, maybe I'll come up with some sweet shirts or gloves or something. But now it's about advocating.
That's not the. I mean, we've got to be cheerleaders. We're losing so many people in this industry. Skilled trades all across the U.S. are suffering right now. So I mean, we've got to figure out a way to bring that next generation in there. We're already getting left behind.
Well, sitting on the job and bitching about it ain't helping.
No, it's not doing anything about it.
We've had plenty of guys older than me doing that for years and years and years. So you can either sit there and bitch about there's nobody in this next generation that's worth a shit, or you can get out there and start trying to change it.
Yeah.
And
start recruiting them. And
I'm dumb enough to go out there and try to start changing it.
Find the ones that are interested, and then give them that mentorship. Bring them in, train them up.
Mentorship.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be at a school. It doesn't have to be. I learned without ever paying a dime for it. Now, it took me a lot longer than going to somewhere that has a little bit of form, function, and direction. But as long as they've got a desire, anybody can learn it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's why I love it still to this day.
That's the only thing I could picture myself doing.
I still learn.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's from younger students and stuff. If you learn from your mistakes, watching newer people make new mistakes, you still continue to learn. It's pretty wild how that works out.
Yeah. I've learned to make do with a lot of shortcuts just by learning from other people's mistakes, watching somebody else screw something up.
Oh yeah,
I know exactly what not to do now. Now I'm much more educated, and the cool thing is I didn't have to pay that tuition.
Yep,
somebody else paid that tuition for me. I just got to reap some of the benefits.
Damn straight.
Awesome, brother. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast once again. I've got to bounce out to the AWS welding competition.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
but,
I might follow you over there because I sponsored one of our old students, I guess you'll say. I slipped him a 20 because he didn't have any cash. So if Robert Carpenter wins, he owes me 200% on that $20 I loaned him.
Might have to cut that out if he wins because I think they want me to judge. Hopefully not.
Well, hopefully there's
hopefully there's numbers on there.
Damn it, Robert! I just ruined it for you. I'm never going to get my $20 back, am I?
Probably not. Well, let's go check it out, man.
Right on. I'll follow you over, bud.
All right, brother.
Yeah, that worked out perfect.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation between Dabbs and I. If you're enjoying the shows, be sure to share them with your friends and coworkers, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite downloader app so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps to support my work and mission to help educate and inspire the next generation of welders. I hope you all have a kick-ass week. Stay safe out there, and until next time, make every weld better than your last.